Hola, Lady Lauren Lee here. I'm trying to make this video. This is my fourth attempt to make it. The first one was so long that when I tried to upload it, it almost crashed all the YouTube in my house. So, needless to say, I'm going to have to talk in this. It was two subjects that I'm making this video about. So I'm going to have to make it two separate videos, which is fine because they're two different subjects in the first place. So the Grand is not here with me today. She's spending the night. She's on winter break, and she's in her room. We're going to make some brownies later on, if she's still up. She's hanging out watching her YouTube while I make this video. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the Housewives of Atlanta. And let me just quickly say that in the 70s, when I was in my 20s, a lot of my friends, it's kind of hot in here, a lot of my friends went to Atlanta because it was a haven for young blacks on the rise. And some of them didn't like Atlanta, and they came back right away within like 6 months. I suspect because there weren't enough transplants in Atlanta to make it more of a diversified atmosphere for New York, for the average New Yorker. Now that there are more transplants, I'm sure that Atlanta's more hip and hopefully going down paths that are not so ridiculous. I mean, I like Derek G, or is it Derek J, the hairdresser. I used to watch his show. I don't know how I can handle those high heels. I mean, at least RuPaul, RuPaul, when he went out, he dressed up like a man. I don't know if I can handle the lipstick on, I forgot the other one's name that could sing really nicely, and he hung around with Candy or Phaedra or somebody. Well, anyway, or maybe he was Kenya's friend, which is probably why he's not on the show anymore, because Kenya is one of the main people that I'm on making this video to discuss. So anyway, Atlanta's okay. I'm not saying that I have anything against it, but there's some things that are going on in Atlanta that I haven't spoken on, and I even vowed that I wasn't going to do any videos about the housewives. But at this point, I'm leaving comments all over YouTube on Forest Rocks, Much Love from Kentucky, and Ashley Miller, my three favorites. So why not talk about the comments that I'm leaving? I love those girls. I think they're so funny and so talented. I wish that their language was a little bit cleaner, but what can I say? You can't. I mean, I just hope that they get road shows and they start getting, the proper um, compensation for the good work that they do. They're very insightful young ladies, and I like them all. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Kenya Moore. I really applaud her accomplishments to make Miss USA. I first want to say that becoming Miss Michigan in her day and time, I know that Detroit had a lot of greats, the Motown family, and different people like that, the Supremes, Diana Ross's, the Berry Gordys, the Temptations, and so forth. Curtis Fuller, which was one of my exes, actually, when I was 19 years old, and he was doing his work with John Coltrane. Um, and the Clark sisters, as far as gospel is concerned. There's a lot of greats that come from Detroit. But the condition that Detroit is in and was for a long time, um, the fact that Kenya made Miss Michigan or was crowned Miss Michigan, I'm sure her competition could not have been that high, given the circumstances and the status that Detroit is in now and was in when she was growing up. I don't think she could have made it in New York. I just don't. But anyway, back to Kenya. I think her time on the Housewives is nearing a close, I hope. Um, when she first got to the show, she thought she was the sexiest, the hottest, the most desirable, the smartest person on the show, which was she was very wrong about that. And now it's starting to show that the little bit of dialogue and a little bit of sassiness that she had is fizzling away, and the real Kenya is coming to a surface. The first thing I didn't like about her was when her and her gay friend, I forgot his name, when they were discussing the house that she was not going to get evicted from, they started dancing and they made up a little song and so forth, and they were dancing to it over and over. And I was like, stop copying off of the Braxtons, because nobody did that in any of these reality shows until the Braxton girls did it. They grew up making up songs, spontaneous songs, ever since they were little girls. And why steal something that they, that made them interesting to their viewers? So when she started doing that, it was a turnoff. When she was climbing all over Apollo, I mean, she's just, when she stole the idea of the video and then talked junk about the person that she stole it from. That's like Nicki Minaj when she stole from Little Kim. She clearly stole her whole concept and her whole idea from Little Kim, but then she turned around and started talking junk about her. It's okay, they say that imitation is the best form of flattery, but you don't imitate and then bash the person that you stole it from. It's just ridiculous. And I know that Kenya is famous for that. Anyway, so back to her. I don't also do not like. Oh, let's back up a bit. Her tagline: "Don't twirl for me unless I." Is it "Don't come for me unless I twirl for you"? Let's break that down. Don't come for me. Okay, that means don't start anything and there won't be anything. Okay? As a matter of fact, Kenya herself used to say, don't come for me unless I come for you. That made more sense than don't come for me unless I twirl for you. Because if I remember correctly, twirling was supposed to be going with the wind fabulous. So, I don't know, make up your mind. I mean, whoever wrote that tagline for her, they missed the boat. It's tired like Kenya. She's a hater. I've always thought that she was jealous of Portia. Although I wish Portia would lighten up on the sex end of what she's doing now. Girls, don't let Bravo talk you into doing any old thing. Because if I remember correctly, Portia was a preacher. And I know that women get hurt when they are divorced. But, they get a little crazy too. And that kind of looks like what Portia's doing. But all the, sex and, can't have a date without talking about it. I kind of wish she would back off of some of that. But I still think that Kenya was jealous of Portia, because although Kenya made her own way and she is her own person, or was her own person, which is a great accomplishment. I mean, they say that making your own way in some cases is even better than being born with a silver spoon in your mouth. However, someone like Kenya kind of wishes that she was born with that silver spoon in her mouth. You can't choose where you were born and who you were born to. Just like Portia can't choose, Kenya can't choose. Kenya came from a apparently dysfunctional family. Her mother had to abandon her for whatever reasons. Maybe she was too young, as they say, or whatever the case may be. But the dysfunction is pretty obvious in that family. Portia, on the other hand, came from a family that had a firm foundation. It's part of African American history. Her grandfather set the path for them. I'm sure she grew up going to debutante balls and was a member of Jack and Jill and was quite pampered, probably private school like my daughter and my granddaughter. I mean, even though Kenya should be proud of herself for the accomplishments that she made as her own woman, and a young woman at that, in a time where blacks could not really excel to certain levels, she should be proud of herself. But deep down inside, I think the fact that she's not a true blue blood is leaves a sour taste in her mouth, which is why she hated Portia so much. The other thing is, I don't think she thought that Portia was going to be allowed to come back as a regular on the show. She thought that Andy and Bravo would protect her and fire Portia because Portia dragged her, as Candy said, across the stage during the reunion when she had that megaphone in Portia's face. Maybe they thought about it and realized, that was pretty offensive and pretty aggressive, and we should not have allowed, like Nene said, we should not have allowed that to go on. So maybe that's one of the reasons why. Plus, Portia's a big name now. She's doing television and all that stuff. So anyway, I think that was a letdown for Kenya because she really was hoping that Portia would get fired. Now she wants to be friends with Portia. I like Portia. Like I said, I kind of think her not knowing what the Underground Railroad was is a bit unforgivable. And like she said, we feed the hungry 265 days out of the year. She's not the only person that makes grammatical errors on these reality shows. Sometimes I wonder where some of these people learn to speak English. I really do. But getting back to Kenya, I am so glad that she not having Chalet Sheree put them on blast when Kenya was talking about Kimmy's husband, Chris. First of all, like Much Love from Kentucky said, when Kim was doing Regine or playing Regine, she wasn't even married to Chris. So what is Kenya talking about when Kim was in Living Single and when Kenya was in Hollywood? She's such an embellisher. They were calling him Chrissy or Crystal or whatever she said. I know that Sheree, or she not having Chalet Sheree, I know that she was boring in the first few seasons, and I didn't like her because she laughed at Nene. I think maybe because she was a little color struck. Nene's a dark sister. She's a little bit lighter and straighter hair. And I think that Sheree thought she was better than Nene. But Nene moved on and did great things, had a wonderful wedding, and Sheree's still fighting with Bob. You know what I'm saying? And that chalet, well, I don't know if that's ever going to be built. And the whole world knows about it. And it's kind of embarrassing because she did try to make Nene look bad. But, the Bible says the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So she not having Chalet Sheree is a witness to that. Anyway, when she started talking about Kim's husband, who she's also jealous of Kim, which she may as well stop wasting her jealousy on her because she'll never catch up. People love Kim. They talked about her hair. I love the blonde dreads. I had dreads for 35 years. Matter of fact, I have some under here. They're 37 years old now. But anyway, back to Kim. They talk about her hair, but everybody knows Kim is a tough person and she knows her stuff. Her mom, Chip, she's tough. She's been out there since the beginning of public television. She did little skits and things back in the 60s on public television down on Long Island and down in New York City. So Kim was born into the industry. Another person who Kenya probably wishes that she was born into the industry that she keeps saying she knows so much about, and Portia being born into African American royalty. So, like I said, I'm glad that Sheree put the girls on blast for talking about Kim's husband, and I can't wait to see the next episode because I just wish that Kenya would go away and take she not having Chalet Sheree with her, and let Nene come back. As much as I didn't like Marlo or Margot, the one that was the hooker, or the escort, I kind of would rather see Marlo come back, and she had no class, but I'd rather see Marlo come back than Sheree because at least Marlo was just openly who she was. Sheree is, very fake, or she not having Chalet Sheree. She's very fake, and I kind of wish that she and Kenya would just go away. Peter, I don't know what your problem is, but I think that Kenya's boyfriend might be the best thing that ever happened to her. He's a nice guy. He handled you old geezers very well. He got up. I think it was so cute when he said, well, let's take that walk together or whatever, however he worded it. I thought he handled himself kind of like a thug in a way, but a gentle, he could be tough if he wanted to be. Let's put it that way. course, I don't like using the word thug because my man Tupac, he was like, you put a different twist on thug, which was the hate you gave. Okay, and I want everybody to remember that's what thug means in Tupac's mind, the hate you gave, which is what got him assassinated, I feel. But yeah, I think Peter and Greg really had no right to come down on that young man the way they did. He handled them well. He was the mature one. And Peter, I'm going to tell you, like Much Love says, the rice that was flying, Much Love is so funny. She calls Peter everything from every rice dish you can think of, rice-a-roni, sushi, whatever. She is so funny. But yeah, Peter, you were definitely out of line. Greg, you were out of line too. So I know Nini's my girl, and she might not like me talking about her husband, but you guys really did not have to come down on that young man like that. The other thing, um, Candy, I heard you had your baby. Congratulations. You're a very fine young lady, and I miss you being on the show. And I wish you and Todd the best. I'm glad I don't have to look at Mama Joyce acting out anymore. By the way, folks, I am older than Mama Joyce. I looked up her age. I'm about 4 years, 3 or 4 years older than Mama Joyce. And I know that when you get our age, you do not have to behave like she was behaving on that show. I don't know who she thought she was, but I'm glad that Candy put her on blast at the reunion when she told the world that Mama Joyce had her credit card and was using it. So all that, maybe that's what calmed her down. A lot of people think it's because Todd's mom died, but I think it was the embarrassment that Candy just was so upset and so tired of her mother's crap that she finally told the world this woman was literally kind of robbing me in a way. So anyway, enough about the girls from Atlanta. So I just wanted to say that Kenya, I think you're played out. I hope you go away, finally get your house built so you won't have to talk. So when you talk about she not having Chalet Sheree, you won't look like she not having Chalet Kenya. I think that's about it. Cynthia, put some tape on your husband's mouth. Stay beautiful. Let's see. Like I said, Nene, I'm glad you're back. Um, what's Cynthia's sister's name? I don't even remember. I forgot. But I don't know. I mean, she's really not needed on the show either, which is pretty obvious. Kim, keep up the good work. Don't swear. Don't let the show make you swear. You weren't doing that before, so don't do it now, okay? You're a fine young lady. I saw the video that you did with Smokey Norfolk. You know, if you're a Christian girl, like you said, faith is your facts of one of your facts of life. Keep it that way. Don't let the show make you swear and cuss and carry on if that's not your real demeanor, okay? So, all you ladies, be well. My viewers, I'm going to do a video right after this one about the preachers of Atlanta. And it's not going to be just gossip and talk. I mean, I have two issues that I really want to address. So, I cooled off a little bit and it feels great. The Grand doesn't want to join in this video with me, so we're going to let her go ahead and stay and hang out in her room. But it was nice being back. It's been a while. And you guys take care. So adios and te quiero mucho. He lives. And I'll talk to you soon. Adios.